That faith that I placed all those years ago, not far from here, in the power of ordinary Americans to bring about change, that faith has been rewarded in ways I could not have possibly imagined.
I worked really hard on the things that the American people cared about and on the things that are most important for our future. And you know, I've used this analogy before. You run your leg of the race. You get the baton, and hopefully you've either advanced a lead or closed a gap when you pass the baton to the next person. And what I can say is, 8 years after I got elected, the country's a lot better off by almost every measure. And it's, you know, that's not a matter of opinion. People can ultimately make judgments about, oh, could he have done even more? This didn't get done, that didn't get done. You know, we didn't solve racism in America. The Middle East is still in chaos. But what I can say, and I think would be hard to dispute, is that across the spectrum, America's stronger, more prosperous, more respected than it was before I started.
Will your legacy be measured in some way on the success or lack of success of the Trump administration? Will we have to look at you a couple of cycles beyond?
You know, I think that's true of every president. You know, people ask, well, you know, what do you think about this issue or that issue? I say, well, I don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out yet. You look at something like healthcare. We've provided 20 million people with health insurance. The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, is not perfect, partly because the process was so painful to get it done. But for those 20 million people, their lives are better. Now, if 20 years from now we look back and despite efforts by the Republican Congress to roll it back, we end up seeing that it set the bar. It was sort of the starter home for everybody in this country getting the health insurance that they need, and us continuing to make progress in reducing costs. And people will say, well, we're sure glad the president got that started. If it gets completely reversed and suddenly 20 million people are thrown back off the rolls, then what we at least can say is it's doable, and maybe that carries the conversation forward to a future administration.
Now, he watches day by day as the next administration threatens to dismantle his legacy. But his audacity to hope, he says, endures.
We've shown what's possible. And, you know, the promise of our democracy is not that every gain we make is permanent. Each successive generation has to reinforce our best impulses and try to do something about our worst impulses. And you know, we make progress, and then sometimes we take a step back before we start going forward again. But that's not a cause for despair. That's a cause for hope.
We as a people will get there.
Which brings us back to Grant Park.
Did you see some idealism in that young man?
I did, and that idealism hasn't left. Look, I'm grayer. People like to note the additional wrinkles. Although I'm probably in better shape now than I was in that video. I had been campaigning on the road for about a year and a half. But my spirit is unchanged. It's undaunted.
Mr. President, thank you so
much.
And you got a speech to make.
I do. I don't want to be late.
Okay.
Hello, Chicago. I'm asking you to believe, not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. I'm asking you to hold fast to that faith written into our founding documents, a creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless you. May God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
And NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.